Hello, and welcome back into the Marketing Brief. I am your host, Brian Aquan, and this is the podcast where we briefly touch on topics across the marketing landscape. As always, we're joined by industry experts, and we've got two of them, two gentlemen from Washington today, Kaare Iverson and Dan Holtz. Gentlemen, welcome into the pod.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, man. Thanks for having us. Also, quick correction. I'm actually in California.
Sorry.
It's all right. Start over.
Yeah, right? I've always known Dan as a Washington guy.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Do you guys want to introduce kind of what you're working on? I know you're from Fieldborn, which is like your latest effort, but introduce kind of what you guys have been working on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go for it, Corey.
Okay. So Dan and I are both photographers and directors, and we sort of like switch hats depending on what we're doing. We often work together, and we only get to wear one of those hats at a time. So a lot of our projects are creating marketing assets, typically really built around storytelling for commercial brands. And a lot of times our deliverables are like a hybrid of photo and video, hence director, photographer, one hat at a time.
That sums it up, dude.
What I've done so far.
What kind of brands are you working with now? What kind of projects are you working on?
We're primarily steeped in outdoor industry. We're expanding past that. We've currently have some shoots actually coming up in 2 days for some wine brands, and we do a lot of nonprofit work as well. I'm doing a project with Protect Our Winters and Offshore Wind, working with a local land trust here on some newly acquired land in a wildlife corridor. And then we've got, just good old outdoor industry shoots coming up with sunglass brands and outdoor brands, clothing brands, hydration brands. So yeah, it's starting to turn into a pretty stacked spring already.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
I'll see y'all in June.
Of course, I met you guys through Protect Our Winters when we worked on a project together. I mean, I think looking at what you guys do and what you've set up, it looks pretty ideal from the outside. But maybe we start here, like, what's really challenging about the work you guys do and finding clients and executing with them? Like, what do you find to be the most challenging points for you?
Not enough hours in the day. I think this is a pretty common one among creatives is, when you're in the field, you're not marketing. When you're marketing, you want to be in the field, but so you can't really be in two places at once. So it's really trying to find that rhythm of workflow and also work-life balance, right? Like I've got a wife and kids, Corey's got a wife and a kid, and it's like, when you're home, you want to be home. When you're on the road, it's all encompassing. So for me personally, I feel that it's time. I don't know about you, Corey.
Yeah. I think kind of to add to that, like, Dan and I both like wearing these hats of director or photographer. And, Fieldborn is a production company, but we're a kind of a small boutique shop. Like, we want to be on set, which means, there's often no one answering emails or the telephone while we're working. And production days are like, 10, 12-hour days, and they're stacked in a row. Yeah, I think trying to find a balance with that has been hard, Dan has been doing an amazing job, though, I have to say. You kind of mentioned this word before we started talking, like authenticity and storytelling, and he's just been kind of nailing telling our story on LinkedIn, and that's really been resonating with people, our sort of brand, voice, and identity. It's us, and Dan's been putting it out there. I think I'm a little more introverted.
It's interesting because I'm just not a social media guy. I was born in the 70s, right?
Same.
So so it's like I started really leaning into LinkedIn like a year ago, and I was like, oh man, I should have been doing this sooner. This is actually like I'm connecting with really cool people. Like get on these great calls with people. I've cast a couple people for shoots. We incorporated someone recently into a documentary we're working on, all through LinkedIn Connects. And I'm like, these are like real humans. This isn't like going on Instagram and you're like, oh my God, what's happening in the world? This is like, we're getting work done. There's some cool people. Let's find the people that we really resonate with and just kind of, let it all happen naturally. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I think is interesting is that's what you guys do in your work, right? Is you find the narrative, you find the story. So I think you're not alone that a lot of people have trouble of like, when it comes to marketing, how do I do the same thing, right? How do I do what I'm doing? But I'd love to talk to you about that because I love your work. I love the stuff that you guys do.
Thanks.
Obviously, you're working with clients. They have objectives. You guys have your own creative approach that you bring to that. like how do you find that balance, right? How do you find the balance of making the client happy, doing something you feel is really great work? How do you put great work out and make sure that the client's happy at the same time?
Yeah. Discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iteration.
Yeah. Some brands are kind of that we've been working with for quite some time are like, hey, here's the product line, run with it. Like we just do what you always do and we're gonna love it. Other brands, yeah, it's definitely more discovery of like, okay, how much creative leeway do we actually have here?
Mm-hmm.
They're hiring us based on our style and our work ethic and our deliverables, but they have their own style, right? Every brand's got their own identity, of course, if they're doing it right. So it's us honoring that and then kind of putting our spin on it, whether that's through casting, how we're shooting it, what the grade looks like at the end of the project, all sorts of little things can plug into that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like you kind of mentioned, like, making sure the client's happy. There is so much latitude in a project still, like after it's been shot. I mean, to a degree, you still gotta like understand the brief going in. But like, there's a project that we worked on recently where we delivered and the client was like, oh, like we were kind of hoping it felt more like this. Fortunately, with like a collective, like almost like 40 years of industry experience now, we can kind of take that squishy client language and turn it into like a result that fixes it. So, one round of revision and they were like, that's exactly what we wanted. That's what we meant. We didn't have to reshoot. It was just like, oh, let's, regrade so that the mood feels right for you. And just like, yeah, I mean, like we're always trying to make the client real happy and we're always trying to over deliver a little bit. And, this kind of creative, it's a complicated product to do like a photo campaign or especially a documentary type of product or a film type product. So yeah, I think we're normally like within 10% of the mark, after production. And then there's always a bit of revision. That's just a normal part of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. I wanted to ask you guys about AI because I always love asking creative people about AI. I feel like we're in this space where AI has a brand problem. Has a branding problem. I'd love to help them with that. We should have the big AI to help them. But I think we're in this space where, it's a little inevitable. It's being integrated into a lot of tools. Like I use tools with this podcast to help me edit it with AI. So I'm sure there's some of that stuff. Are there ways that you're using AI? Are you, what are your feelings towards it, I guess?
It's definitely, it's another tool, right? It's another tool in the toolbox. Just like when we graduated, well, not graduated, but when we transferred over from shooting film into digital, right? It's just like it changed our workflow. Made shoots much more accessible for a lot more people, but in the hands of a professional, that new set of tools just elevated the game exponentially, right? So like, what is it? The rising tide raises all ships or whatever, however, so
Floats all boats.
There it is. You said it much better, Brian. But yeah, absolutely. I feel that utilizing these tools, I don't feel we're in any danger of being replaced right now.
Right.
There are brands certainly that are like, everything's going to be generated artificially. We're going to throw it all at the wall and it's just going to be like, they're just going to churn and burn. And it's like, cool, man, that makes us stand out and the brands we work stand out so much more. Because now it's like, oh, we have real stories to tell with real people out there in the field doing it. And like, that's night and day, man. Like, let people generate artificial intelligent, like AI. I know the AI slop is kind of overused term. Kind of is. But if you're utilizing it like a tool, like I've got an algorithm built that analyzes my past 20 years of photo editing. I plug that into software and now I could get a first round of photo edits like in a day to my client, which used to take me a couple days to go through. So it's like, great. I'm totally going to use that. I'd be silly if I didn't.
Of course.
It's just a time saver.
Yeah. I kind of echo that too, that like, yeah, I mean, AI is consuming. It's like a little Pac-Man, like eating sort of like the bottom easy part of our job, like the easy, production jobs. And it's left us with this, we've had to reposition ourselves, as a result, but it's a really good position to be in, we're like, well, yeah, okay, like I didn't love shooting those catalog campaign or those catalog jobs anyways, where we're just like, okay, change the outfit. Okay. Same lighting. just churning and burning. It's like AI can churn and burn. It gives us an opportunity to, to tell meaningful stories with real people and to work at to focus on work at a higher level, at like the brand level instead of the product marketing level.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I mean, I look at AI as leverage in everything that I do. I'll steal a quote from a guest who's been on this podcast, John Betancourt, called it the calculator of our times. And I really like that because, again, it puts it back in the tool box of something that you use to do it faster, do it better, to show more options. But storytelling still comes from an emotional place, still comes from something with a beating heart. And I think that's something you guys do really well. I don't think that'll be replaced in the short term. I want to ask you guys.
People are still going to want to use an abacus, I guess, but
clicking across. I think there's limitations.
Maybe
you can't count past 100.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I'd love to ask you guys a question I ask of all of my guests, and on a positive note. What's something that you're excited about? It can be in your professional capacity with Fieldborn, or it could be in your personal capacity, but what's something you're excited about right now?
I'm going to go because I was louder.
Go ahead, Cliff.
yeah.
But nothing's coming out. I've got a gallery coming up for a personal project. I don't know if you can see, there's like one of the prints back there.
Yes, awesome.
Yeah, I completed that work a couple years ago, but it got picked up again by a bigger gallery in Berkeley. And what I'm most excited about, though, is I have months to help work with the gallery on planning the opening reception. And I just kind of love the tactile, real, like IRL experience of that kind of artwork. It's taking this photography that in a lot of our work is just in such a digital space or in like a disposable print space, and putting it in a real space and being able to pair it with real conversations and it's a super dynamic way to leverage art and create change. So I'm super excited about that.
And people come and see it in real life and you get to interact with them. That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't have to do it on Discord or whatever kind of online BS.
Absolutely.
It's so cool, man. That whole series is just amazing. Like we could spend 20 minutes just talking about like how that process went down. It's pretty rad, but
that's cool.
People should check it out.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into the 15 minutes, but come check it out. It's at the David Brower Gallery, opening night, September 24th, Berkeley, California.
Cool.
Woo. Nice, buddy. I'm really excited about this series of projects we're working on right now. We're going to hit the road for about 2 months. I'll be back for a total of about 10 days over the next 2 months, which, it's tough to be away from the family, but I'm also just super excited about these projects, particularly the one that we're working with POW is about offshore wind, which is a huge behemoth of a project to work on. I'm sure you know, Brian. It's like, it's a hot topic. But I also just started working yesterday. I'm actually going to post this later today of this land trust project that I'm working on with a local land trust here, Chelan, Douglas County, and they just opened up they preserved this plot of land that's a huge part of a wildlife corridor in the Joaquin Canyon area. So absolutely really cool. I just get to shoot landscapes and like be outside, and it's like it's just B-roll for days. I love that. But during all this and all this traveling, I'm turning 50, which is a pretty big one. So we're going to go to Vegas and I'm going to see fish at Sphere, which I'm very excited
there you
about.
Go. That's awesome. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you guys so much for being part of the podcast. Dan, I know you're on LinkedIn. How do people get in touch with you? Is LinkedIn the best way to get in touch with you?
LinkedIn's probably the best way, yeah. Or just go to the website. It's fieldborncreative.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Corey, best of luck in your gallery showing. Thanks for plugging that too. So get out to the gallery if you're up. Where is it?
Berkeley, California, at the David Brower Gallery.
Nice. And September 24th?
You got it. September 24th.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being a guest. This has been the Marketing Brief Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Aquan. Stay curious.